So how did you actually get involved in selling drugs initially? I mean, in terms of like, what was the actual situation around it?
Like I said in the book, you didn't get to read the book yet, but one of my big homies who was kind of like a tookie in the neighborhood, big, muscular football player, tough, was playing football at San Jose State. He called me. I was down on my luck. I didn't know where I was going to get my next 50 cents from. And he was like, man, what you doing? And I was like, oh, man, I'm just sitting here and on Mom's porch. And he was like, man, I got the next best thing. I got the thing that everybody's doing. Come by the house. So when I go by his house, he laid some cocaine out on the table.
Powder cocaine.
Powder cocaine in little rocks, though, like they had broke it off of an actual kilo.
This was not cooked cocaine. This was actually,
right.
It was just literally the cocaine
Yeah.
broken off from the packed
Correct.
cocaine. Okay.
Not sifted and cut up.
Okay. So when you saw it, what happened next?
Well, I didn't know if it was cocaine or not because it was yellow. And I'm thinking cocaine was white. In the movie Superfly, the cocaine was white, not yellow. So this cocaine was yellow. So now I'm kind of like taken back because, Superfly, that's my hero. I know he know what he doing. So now Mike, I don't know. Mike, you a football player. You don't know nothing about no cocaine. So Mike convinced me into taking a little piece and going around and showing it to some people. And that's pretty much what I did.
He fronted you the cocaine?
Yeah, $50 worth.
$50 worth. And he said, bring back the $50. And
Yeah, I was supposed to bring back the 50.
Whatever you keep after that's your money.
Exactly. Well, I didn't know all that.
He gave you $50 worth of powdered cocaine. And what'd you do with it?
Well, I started going around the neighborhood asking people, what was it? All the OGs. I went to the liquor store where Bonnie hung out at and Black and all the guys who I felt were more advanced in the street than I was. I went and asked them. Well, eventually I run into Martin, who was a pimp, and Martin looked at it and he said, come on, go with me. We're gonna go find out what it is. So Martin takes me over to his house and pulls out his little back bag and takes out his little torch and he goes to heating this bottle. He puts some stuff in the bottle and he's heating it up and the stuff is bubbling and gelling and he takes it over to the sink, puts some cold water in it. Booyah, he got a rock.
Oh, so he actually made crack right there in front of you?
He did.
Okay.
That was the first time I ever saw crack.
Okay.
What they call crack, we don't call it crack. We call it Ready Rock.
Ready Rock.
Yeah, we never called it crack. That's a government term.
So,
that was the term the government used so they could hammer everybody.
Okay, so he went and made some Ready Rock in front of you.
Yeah. And then after that, he hit it and tasted it, and he was like, do they little number. I need another piece. Then he hit another piece, and then after a while, it was like, man, that's all you got left. You can't sell that. Give me all that. I owe you $50.
Did he actually pay you back the $50?
Nope, but he brought other people to me.
Oh, so he knocked you for the 50, but he brought some new customers over.
He brought me some new customers. He brought me my first $100 sale.
So you had to go back.
No, I didn't go back to Mike right then. I went back to the porch. I went back to the porch.
Right, because you owe Mike $50.
Oh, Mike, now I'm worse off than I was.
Right, you're $50 in the hole.
At least I wasn't 50 in the hole. Now I'm 50 in the hole. So I'm sitting on the porch going like, wow. But then I look up. Here come Martin. Then he got this dude with him, this big old dude, is Mouse, Big Mouse, who's a Crip, and then they had $100. And he was like, man, I want $100 of that. Martin told me about it. And I was like, wow, what am I gonna do?
Because you have no more cocaine.
I don't have no cocaine and I owe Mike 50, so how do I deal with that? Well, I called Mike. I told Mike what happened. I told him they had 100, and if he would bring the 100 over right then, he could get $100. So he did it, and that started my business. That's how my whole business started, with those two guys.
Martin and Mouse.
Yeah.
Martin and Mouse started you in the cocaine business. Okay.
I mean, they didn't start me, but they were my first two customers.
So basically, Mike came over, brought some more cocaine, sold it right then and there. You got your $100. What happened next?
Mike got his 100. Mouse kept coming, Martin kept coming, and I kept calling Mike. Next thing you know, I'm doing $300 a day for Mike. I'm like, wow. Mike's rolling. I ain't getting nothing out of this. You know, I'm just a little homie looking out for the big homie.
Right. How old are you at the time?
I'm 19.
19. Okay.
So then my boy Al, who was my number one dude, was in prison. I'm not in prison, but in the county jail for burglary. So he got released. So then I tell him what I've been doing. Like, man, I've been selling this cocaine and da-da-da-da, and I ain't getting nothing out of it. But I heard we can get an 8-track for $300. If you buy an 8-track for $300, you can make $900. So then we decided that we had to go get $300.
Okay.
That's what we did. That's what we did. We went and got 300.
You went and got 300.
Yeah.
And then
I talk about that whole story in there, how when we needed the 300, it's all in the book, about how we went and stole a car from our junior high school.
Then you flipped it for 300.
We flipped the parts for 300.
Oh, you stripped it.
We stripped it.
You stripped it out.
You know. Well, Al stripped it because I couldn't really do much because I'd already got caught for a GTA. So Al did all the work, and we put the $300 together, bam. And then look back after that, baby. It was like.
Okay. So once you got the 300, you bought what with it?
We bought what they call an 8-track.
And what's an 8-track?
It's supposed to be 3.5 grams, but what I can tell you now is that it probably was a gram of cocaine and about 2.5 grams of cut.
Which is like baby powder or whatever.
Yeah, they used to use McKnight on it.
Okay.
McKnight was a cut of choice when we were doing our thing.
Okay. So you went and got this fake 8-track and you flipped that.
Yeah. We were supposed to flip it into 900. We probably came back with like $450. Okay. You know, a little money, but enough to get another one. And we did the same thing, and just kept doing the same thing. The next thing you know, we had 700, and then we buying a quarter. So then I run into, that's when I go back and I holler at Mr. Fisher. So he's like, man, what you been doing? So I tell him. So we buying about $1,100. We got about $1,100 saved up right now. And I said, man, I've been buying cocaine. And then he was like, man, come by my house. So when I get over to his house, he explains to me that all the stuff that he had didn't come from being a teacher. That he had sold cocaine, he had made 200. I think he said $250,000 before. He's like, I had $250,000. I traveled the world, and I was like, $250,000. What is that?
Yeah.
So he hooked me up with my first Nicaraguan connection.
So he actually gave you a connect.
He gave me the Nicaraguan connection. Yes.
The Nicaraguan connection.
That was my first Nicaraguan connection.
But he hooked you up with someone from Nicaragua
that was in a circle.
That was in the circle that could move, that could get you weight.
Yeah. They could get me better quality cocaine, better price, and weight.
Okay. And were you still working through the teacher, or were you going directly?
For a while, we worked through the teacher, but Mr. Fisher was using.
Oh, so you were sniffing coke? Were you doing crack?
Sniffing and smoking.
Sniffing and smoking.
Yeah.
So you could.
It started off where he would, every time we would get something, he would take out a couple grams, you know. Oh, just give me a couple grams for my time. And then, you know, the more he took out, the more he smoked, the worse it starts to get. So, you know, now we're buying 8 ounces. So, you know, now he's taking out a ½ ounce. So he's really partying. You know, he got a house full of people. And now we don't go to school no more. I mean, I don't teach at school no more. I don't have to go to teach because I got cocaine. So, you know, it got to the point to where all he did all day long was just cocaine. And then the Nicaraguans, they saw it. We saw it, that he had started to become like an addict, but disruptive to the business.
Okay.
You know, he wants more every time. He don't want to work until he wants to work. If he's hitting the pipe, you know, you can't do no business. So we both agreed that we would cut him out and start going directly to each other.
Were you using it all?
No.
So you weren't touching the stuff?
No. I used for about 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half. When I got up to an ounce, I thought I was rich. My friends who were using had convinced me that I was rich enough to have a party, a cocaine party,
Okay.
and marijuana party. I never smoked marijuana before. You know, I never drunk a beer, never smoked a cigarette, any of that. So I did it for about a week straight, and at the end of the week, not only was my throat stripped, but my wallet was broke.
Right.
And I made a vow that I would never do it again.
Okay. So at this point, you're now working with the Nicaraguans.
Yes.
So how much weight are you buying at this time?
Like I said, when I started with buying through him, it started at like a ½ ounce, and you know, at any given time, you know, 8 ounces, a pound, 2 pounds, 10 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, until I learned about kilos, and then I started buying kilos, so they was tricking me.
Okay. So you started buying kilos with the Nicaraguans.
Yeah, eventually I started buying kilos.
How are you getting the drugs? You basically just meet up with them, do the transfer?
Yeah, we just go to an apartment somewhere, or we swap keys. Here are the keys to the car with the money. Here's the keys to the car. Because we know each other. You know, we've been doing this. We done
Okay.
made money with each other.
What I do know about the cocaine business, from my experience being around people and so forth, is that it's a very dirty business. It's if someone could.
It can be. It's according to who you're doing business with.
Right.
If you're doing business with a dirty dude, it's a dirty business.
Right.
But
But people get ripped off in cocaine all the time. It seems like, you know, you compare it to like.
Well, if they doing business with ripoffs,
Okay.
you know, a guy who's not a ripoff ain't gonna rip you off.
Okay.
He don't care what it is, what product it is. He's just not a ripoff guy.
I see what you're saying.
But if you're dealing with a ripoff guy, he don't care if you're dealing with tennis shoes or bottles or sodas. He's a ripoff guy. He's not there to sell a product. He's there to rip you off. And that's the way the cocaine business works as well.
So when you deal with people who are just business people, you always get what it is that you paid for.
Absolutely.
Every time.
Or more.
Or more. Okay. So you got lucky enough to deal with actual business people.
Absolutely. I mean, I had some rip-off people. I done got ripped off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the most you got ripped off with, you know, back then?
Well, cocaine, I had a guy one time to sell me $70,000 worth of a cake mix.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You didn't realize it until.
Well, the way the deal went down was I had stepped outside of my circle of buying drugs, and even though this guy was one of the Nicaraguans, what I had a bad habit of doing is I would take the numbers from other Nicaraguans. They would come to the meeting, and then what they would do is they would throw me their phone number, because I kind of like become like the prize catch for the Nicaraguan connection. They all was trying to meet me.
Right, because they knew that you were the person in LA for them to unload their product.
Exactly.
Okay, and they didn't trust anyone else.
Well, you know, you might run into one of those rip-off guys.
Right. They knew that Freeway Ricky
Or
was.
somebody who, you know, who was a murderer. You know, a murderer, they not only will they take your drugs, but they gonna kill you too.
Right.
So they felt comfortable with me.
You were just about your business.
I was about my business. I was gonna have money.
Okay.
And I had plenty of it, you know.
Yeah. So what happened to the guy who sold you the cake mix?
I never saw him again. We come into this guy's business, the guy who set it up, and I'm sitting at a table with a bag of money, and he's standing in the door, and he was playing like he was scared. So he tell the guy who set the deal up, "Where's the money?" And then I tell him, kind of like Scarface.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
And then I tell him, "Where's the drugs?" So he shows me his bag. Drugs right here. I said, "Money right here." So I got my guys sitting out in on the street in cars, you know, watching, supposedly watching. So the guy who set the deal up, he said, "Oh man, come on!" And he picked my money up off the table and walked it over to the guy and handed it to him. And then he got the bag from that guy. Well, immediately after the guy got the bag, he took off running. So by the time he got to me, I opened the bag up and I look at it. I said, this ain't no dope. I take off after him.
And
So he got a car outside running. He jumps in the car, and now we got a high-speed chase. We're going through L.A. We chasing him.
you're chasing for 70,000.
Yeah, 70,000 was a lot of money back then, man. At that time I probably was only up to I maybe only had like 200,000, you know. So that was like half my stash you just took.
Right.
Even though I'm making money daily, you know, it still was a hard pill for me to swallow.
Of course. I mean, 70,000. No one wants to take that loss, no matter how much money they got.
Yeah, especially in the 70s.
So you never caught the guy.
No, I never caught him.
You never saw him again.
No.
And the guy who set up the deal.
Well, when I got back, my guys had beat him pretty bad. Probably almost killed him. You know, when I walked in, I stopped it immediately. Because I didn't think he had anything to do with it. You know, I knew where he stayed and you know, knew his wife, and you know, like, the guy wouldn't put himself in that kind of situation. So the guy thanked me and took us to where the other guy stayed and tried to help us find him. At the end of the day, you know, I let Tony go home.
Okay. And you never got the money back.
No, and then the other Nicaraguans heard about it, and they teased me about it for going around them. Ah, you try to go around us. Look what happened to you.
Okay, so you went right back to your go-to Nicaraguans.
Yeah.
Okay.